Hey, what's up? It's Jim, and today I'm going to talk about movie crap. This is the new show, third episode. I think I'm going to kick things off with two trailers, actually, and then there'll be more trailer talk at the end. But these are kind of bigger trailers. So the second trailer for Logan premiered today. It looks just as awesome as the previous trailer for Logan did. It looks somehow even more awesome and like an even better movie than I thought than the previous trailer for Logan did. I'd often heard that Logan is going to be like a Little Miss Sunshine with Wolverine, Professor X, and the little girl and stuff. And I think that sounds really cool. Everything I've seen from this seems really great. I know 45 minutes, the first 45 minutes, I think, of the film have been previewed for press, and there's been great reactions to that. All the reviews I've read for that, people seem to really like it. I'm excited. I probably will see it a little late because that's around the time the due date for my daughter, and I think probably have a much more emotional review than I expect at this time because about Wolverine and presumably, I believe, his daughter. In addition, it looks like a really good superhero movie, and finally, the good Wolverine movie that we keep hoping for, but may I remind you that Logan was directed by the guy who did The Wolverine, which was not horrible, but doesn't seem to be a movie anyone likes that much, other than the bullet train scene. Everything I've seen from Logan makes it look like it's probably going to be the best Wolverine movie, but that's not really saying much. Another interesting thing is the fact that the Wolverine movies have no real continuity to them, look completely different from one another, and are at completely different times in the character's life. It's kind of interesting, the Wolverine solo films as a franchise in general. They're kind of not a franchise, it's just like 3 different movies starring Wolverine since he was already introduced in another franchise. Logan looks like probably the best action movie of the year so far. At least it has the best trailers for an action movie in 2017 after like Triple X or Monster Trucks or something. The other trailer is Power Rangers, which sort of looks like Man of Steel and Chronicle and Transformers and Power Dash Rangers, but like from someone who didn't understand that it was like an ironic joke and stuff. And it looks as bad as I thought a Power Rangers movie really would. There's nothing I particularly love about this other than when they're in the water and he's like, oh, I'm black. And he's like, and the black kid who's the Blue Ranger is like, no, you're not, which is kind of funny. It just looks like a bunch of ideas from other 2010 blockbusters mixed together. If your favorite movies are some of the Transformer movies and Man of Steel and Chronicle, I'm sure you'll fucking love Power Rangers, and I can't wait to see your crappy YouTube review where you're standing in front of a bunch of posters of all of those movies and how, you know, people don't understand this is the gritty Power Rangers movie we all asked for. It's not. It really doesn't look very good. How did you make this after Power Dash Rangers? But it kind of shows me that I think my perception of the audience and their perceived intelligence of media is not as great as it actually is, and I think Power Rangers probably shows that, and I actually expect this movie to do well, much like those Transformers movies do well, and then I'm like, how did this fucking do well? And people are like, wasn't it awesome? And I'm like, I hate you. The Sony Twitter account tweeted and confirmed that Miles Morales is going to be the Spider-Man in the animated Spider-Man movie directed by Phil Lord and Chris Miller, which is exciting. I know Marvel has wanted to introduce Miles Morales more into stuff so they could have him be in movies as well, and I think it makes sense since they're going to have an animated franchise and a live action franchise to have like different people play Spider-Man. I think that'll be a better way to do it rather than have like 2 Peter Parker franchises. Would have gotten confusing. So I think that's actually pretty cool news, but that movie doesn't come out until like December 2018. 2018 we get 2 Phil Lord and Chris Miller movies with Han Solo and then Spider-Man. Which is cool. It's similar to what happened in 2014 when we got 22 Jump Street and the Lego movie. Oh, that's kind of cool. So every 4 years we get 2 movies from them. That's better. Hey, that's a better average than most directors, I have to say. If you've ever really wanted to see Chewbacca rip off someone's arm, there was a deleted scene from Force Awakens that shows him doing that unfortunately they didn't put in the movie for some dumb reason. But it's online and you can follow the link. Who doesn't love watching Chewie rip somebody's arm off? The box office this weekend had a lot of bombs. Like everything that opened wide did not do well. Seriously. The top 4 are all films that have been out for a while, those being Hidden Figures, Sing, La La Land, and Rogue One. Now, you could say Hidden Figures opened in more places, but it basically gone wide, and La La Land continues to open in more places and had its 1 week or limited engagement in IMAX screens. Those 2, I guess you could say, but Sing and Rogue One came out like before Christmas. The rest, it was pretty abysmal for all the big wide releases. Some were new movies, some were films finally going wide. I'll just go down the list basically. Bye Bye Man and I'm going off the 4-day weekend, which would be 13th, 14th, 15th, and 16th. Spiderman actually was 5th, so of the newer wide release movies actually did the best, believe it or not. And looking that its budget was only $7 million, was the only one that actually didn't bomb. Considering publicity and whatnot, it probably didn't like make back its budget. It probably didn't break even, but it's a lot closer than like all the other movies. Then there is the infamous Monster Trucks, which yes, lived up to be the box office bomb that we all thought it would. There are other movies that did worse actually, but Monster Trucks cost more, which was $125 million. So I guess in all the ways that money counts, it did way worse. But Monster Trucks did bomb. It only made about $14 million opening at 6th. Monster Trucks did not start the revolution for anyone really, except for like 6-year-olds. There were stories that it beat Rogue One on Monday. Apparently it did do a little better on Monday, but that apparently Paramount over-reported, which seems to be a common thing because Disney over-reported that Rogue One was number 1 last weekend, and then Hidden Figures was. Hidden Figures was number 1 this weekend, but it's kind of more fun to talk about everything that fucking bombed. But Monster Trucks completely fell apart just like we all thought it would, and was the box office bomb that we all saw coming months in the making, and Paramount obviously saw happening in the fall, and it lived up to its name. And so Monster Trucks completely ran out of gas. Or did it even have gas? That doesn't work. Maybe they should have had better things under the hood. Well. Patriots Day, which was trying to do the similar thing that Lone Survivor had done in 2013 going into 2014, and American Sniper did, being a 2014 film going in 2015, is doing a very patriotic, kind of based on a real life story kind of a film. Obviously, Patriots Day starred Mark Wahlberg and was directed by Peter Berg, much like Lone Survivor. This time, people were not into it. I think it's not the same thing to do an Iraq war film and then do a film about the Boston bombing thing. Most people complained to me, like, don't you think it's too soon? And I was like, I mean, movies kind of are about things that people are talking about, so I didn't see it, but I didn't think it was as inappropriate. But clearly nobody really wanted it, so it like completely did not do well. I was actually kind of surprised because it's kind of works within that kind of like release schedule, and I understand why they released it at that time, but they were totally wrong. One film that really did badly, and it got kind of a lot of crap online because of the studio, which is Open Roads, was Sleepless, which starred Jamie Foxx. And the problem with Open Roads is owned by AMC and Regal Theaters, and they're supposed to release stuff on weekends where there isn't like a ton of wide releases to give them more material for their theaters. They put this out when there was like a ton of new releases, and everyone's kind of questioning what they were doing. This film seemed to get decent enough reviews. If it had come out like last weekend or a weekend in September when nothing's coming out, I might have even seen it as someone who just regularly goes to the movies week after week. It was just a bad release strategy all around for it. You know, I think it just kind of got clobbered up. Probably the biggest bomb was Live by Night, which opened in like almost 1,000 more theaters than La La Land this weekend, but made only about $6 million and opened at number 12, which is a huge disaster for Ben Affleck, but he's fine because Warner Brothers kind of has him all safe in a safety net, and Monster Calls continue to bomb. La La Land is going to continue to do very, very well, with Oscar nominations coming out on Tuesday, expected to get a bump next weekend. This weekend it's probably going to hold, but no one's really sure. I think next weekend it's going to get a huge bump. It's only slowly releasing. It's only in about 1,800 theaters. I think it'll probably go fully wide during the Oscar campaign, then it's just going to explode. But they're actually doing a strategy that they used to do with the Miramax movies in the 90s, like Shakespeare in Love, and just slowly roll it out. And I think that's really going to work for La La Land, because there's certain regions where there are not many theaters playing it, so all those showtimes are selling out, and it's like a great strategy of building word of mouth and such. Regardless of what you feel about the movie, I think it is a good strategy. Oh, highest grossing movie of 2017 right now, Underworld Blood Wars. So at 25 million, so XXX could in one weekend be the highest grossing film of 2017. We'll see, but it's interesting. Right now, Underworld Blood Wars. In terms of year domestic in America and such, the top 10 of the year, Sing overtook Moana, meaning that Illumination now has 2 films in the top 10 highest grossing films domestically of 2016, those being Secret Life of Pets and Sing. Previously, Disney had that with Zootopia and Moana, but Moana got outgrossed by Sing. Also, they've made a For Your Consideration video video for Deadpool, as it's actually looking like it may plausibly be nominated for Best Picture, and Ryan Reynolds said he would lose his shit and he'll make a live reaction video if it actually gets nominated. We'll see if all that happens, but if you're a fan of Deadpool, you should check out the For Your Consideration video, which is actually kind of funny in terms of For Your Consideration videos go. This is kind of an interesting little side trivia fact. I'm not going to really talk about the BAFTAs at all, but it's an interesting thing I learned about the BAFTAs. So the BAFTAs nominated a bunch of people and stuff, but there's someone they didn't nominate this year, Denzel Washington. And I go, oh, okay. I mean, I guess they didn't dig fences or whatever. But then I learned that Denzel Washington has like never been nominated for a BAFTA ever. Like in his whole career ever. Like not like, oh, not since Training Day. I mean, I didn't really dig The Equalizer. Okay, that's fine. No, not ever. Not Malcolm X, not Glory, not Mo Better Blues, not He Got Game, not like any of his movies ever. So like really, like ever, like ever, like never ever. I just don't really BAFTAs. I just wow. Okay, guys. I mean, you know, the Oscars get shit for being all white, but you just like did not nominate Denzel Washington ever. I'd do a link for this, but it'd just be like awards Denzel Washington's been nominated for, and you look alphabetically and go, oh, there's nothing from the BAFTAs. Okay, guys, I guess I should keep taking you seriously. DC has decided to split the Shazam movie into two movies, but sort of, but not really. Shazam, which previously The Rock is starring as Black Adam, the bad guy in the Shazam movie, will also have his own standalone movie, most likely because The Rock's like the biggest star in the world right now, and you have The Rock signed as a character. Why have you not done this before? And DC has very little going for it at this time. Like they really just fuck things up, so they need some sure bets at this point, and having The Rock signed up is one of the few they actually have. And it'll probably work out for them, although their slate's pretty full, so I don't know when the fuck the Black Adam movie's gonna happen, or even the Shazam movie's gonna happen, but that is their decision to do that, so I can't wait till whenever this comes out or whatever. If you wanted to see the movie Your Name in theaters rather than on Kiss Cartoon or something else, which I totally didn't do, I heard my friends did, but I never did. Your Name hits theaters on April 7th. It's brought to you by Funimation, which I don't have the highest hopes for, because usually when they do that, they do things where it's like only playing at night, or it's only playing on certain days, and it's not like a real release. It was submitted and made the shortlist for Best Animated Feature for the Oscars. We'll see next week if it actually gets it. But Your Name will be released theatrically through Funimation on April 7th. That's, of course, if it does not get an Oscar nomination, because I bet if it does, it'll get pushed up. I'm fairly sure. Or Funimation are complete idiots, and they're just going to release it on April 7th and give it a shitty release just like they did to Shin Godzilla. Both are plausible and possible. Lucasfilm released a statement because there are all these rumors that they were approaching Carrie Fisher's estate about doing a digital recreation of Carrie Fisher in future movies, and apparently that is not true. The statement they released, which I will link below, talks about that, but interestingly, it actually does not mention using older footage they have of her that was previously unused. So they could do that. I don't know if they talked to her estate about that or what they're doing. There seems to be a lot of gray area going on, and apparently some of Carrie Fisher's death is actually holding up the release of the episode 8 trailer. If I was going to guess, I'd say they're not going to release that trailer until Beauty and the Beast. That's just my guess. I have no inside information on that, but I think that's probably what they're going to do. But it might be delayed further because they don't know what they're going to do with episode 8 and episode 9 with Carrie Fisher's death, and they don't know what they're going to do with certain scenes that might have been shot and directed by Rian Johnson in episode 8 might be put in episode 9, much like what Marvel did with scenes from Avengers ended up being in Winter Soldier with Agent Carter and Captain America. Disney's known to do that, and I wouldn't be surprised if Star Wars does that, but there's a lot of gray areas going on with Lucasfilm right now. But the one thing we are sure about is they're not going to do a digital recreation of Carrie Fisher, or at least at the time being in any films they have planned at this time, although legally they can do that without asking her estate, but with Peter Cushing's estate they actually did get their approval, so they try to do that because they think the public outcry of them using someone dead without their family's permission would probably not go over so well. This show is not going to get political. I just find it funny. In an interview recently, Donald Trump said that his slogan for his 2020 campaign will probably be "Keep America Great," and he was going to have a lawyer trademark it. I don't know if that's actually going to be it or how he's going to pay this off. He was going to have Keep America Great exclamation point. That is actually the tagline for the Purge election year. So I'm not trying to say anything about Donald Trump. I'm not being political, but those are the facts, that he's using the same slogan of the third Purge movie. Happy Purge Night, I guess. If you wondered what Margot Robbie would look like in the Tonya Harding biopic, a picture has been released recently, and she actually looks pretty good. I thought she would look pretty good. I think it's going to be a cool role for her. I didn't know this, but apparently there's going to, kind of through casting I found out about this, but the new Aardman film directed by Nick Park, which is called Early Man, because Maisie Williams from Game of Thrones and Eddie Redmayne and Tom Hiddleston apparently are doing voices. It's an upcoming prehistoric animated feature. I don't know much about it, but Aardman is making a new film and it's going to be called Early Man, and I'm excited for it. If you want to see what Kurt Russell would look like in Guardians 2, the pop figure is out, so that shows you what it'll look like. Sorta. I bet Kurt Russell would look cool like that. There's a cool Twitter account, and AV Club showed it, called Silent Film Effects, that shows how they used to do effects and stunts in the silent film era. You should follow that Twitter account because it shows you kind of some really cool effects that they did in the silent era and how long it took them to do it. In some cases, some things took like 15 hours to do, and like various stunts Buster Keaton and other silent comedians do, and I actually highly recommend it, so check out that if you can. Let's kill this thing with trailers. Alright, so probably the most interesting story in terms of trailers, and it's not a trailer, but it's an ad, but it's a movie thing. So there was an ad or a trailer for Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Wetlands. It was called The Red Dot Trailer. And at first you're like, why am I caring about this? Well, the director of Die Hard, John McTiernan, has not made movies in a while, mostly because of jail and stuff, and hasn't really made anything in like 14 years, but he has made this awesome kind of cool trailer. It's like a minute and 30 seconds. It's actually really cool. I actually really liked it, and I wanted John McTiernan to come back. He's the director of Die Hard, Hunt for Red October, The Last Action Hero also, but I think it's like a welcome return for him, and it's a cute little short film, and I think it's pretty cool, and I wish someone would bring him back to direct an action movie, because I think that would be really cool, or some movie. I think he really needs to come back and do a big budget movie, but if you understand why he went to jail, you understand why that didn't happen. But regardless of that, really check out the Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Wildlands official The Red Dot trailer. It's worth it. It's really cool. Alright, so the next one up is Wilson, which is based on a Daniel Clowes graphic novel or story. It stars Woody Harrelson. It actually looks like it has potential. It's directed by the person who directed Skeleton Twins, which I didn't see, but it has Woody Harrelson in it and is based on a Daniel Clowes thing, so I'm actually sort of interested in it. It also has Laura Dern, and it sort of looks like it could be funny, and maybe hopefully we'll see it at the time it comes out. And finally, they made a trailer for The Nut Job 2, and it looks as irritating as a trailer for The Nut Job 2 could. It has some farts in it and some dumb comedy, and this time the nut shack exploded, so now they have to save the park. That was it. So videos this week, I had the Monster Trucks review, I had the best films of 2016 and the worst films of 2016 videos. I have other reviews coming out, and the next movie crap will be exclusively about the Oscar nominations. The one after that will just be about news and kind of more of what this usually is. So thank you all very much for watching. Thank you everyone who supports me just in life and in Patreon and all those wonderful things. Check out all the links for all this stuff below. Thank you for watching, and thank you for supporting the show and being as down with it as you all have been. Comment below if you'd like to comment on any of the various stories in this video, and subscribe if you would like to.